My name is Justin Ziegler. I'm an attorney with the law firm of JZ Helps, an injury law firm in Florida. And today I'm going to talk about foot injury claims from accidents, such as car accidents, motorcycle accidents, slip and falls, and more. As you can see, this is the foot. Just to go over some of the foot anatomy, you have the Achilles tendon here. You have the metatarsals here. You have the phalanges here. And that's the calcaneus or heel bone. This article primarily focuses on claims where someone's negligence or carelessness caused your foot injury. I already showed you where the metatarsal was. It is right there, one of the more common foot injuries. And the most important thing, or a very important thing to understand, is the foot is complex. There's many tendons, muscles, ligaments in the foot. So when someone says they have a foot fracture, there's many different bones that can be fractured. In fact, there's 26 bones in the foot. Now, 19 of those bones are toe bones, and the remainder of them are metatarsal bones. Let's talk about fractures for a second. There are two types of fractures. One is acute fracture, which is caused by an accident or an incident, and the other one is called a stress fracture, which happens over time. So when someone tells me they have a fractured foot, one of the things I look for in the medical records is to see if they have a stress fracture which occurred over time and possibly not from the accident. However, almost every single foot injury case I've handled, the person has what's called an acute fracture, as I've discussed, which means it was from an accident. An acute fracture is also known as a traumatic fracture. And then there are displaced and non-displaced fractures. A non-displaced fracture is after the fracture, the bone is still lined up, whereas a displaced fracture means it's shifted. All things equal, displaced fractures are worth more. Now, when I say worth more, I'm talking to the full value of the case, particularly the pain and suffering component. And in Florida, you're entitled to get money for pain and suffering if you can show that someone's carelessness caused your foot injury. Now, there are cases where someone who could have a non-displaced fracture and it could be worth more than a displaced fracture. For example, if the non-displaced fracture took longer to heal. Take photos of your foot injury. After you get into an accident, you may think it's going to get better, but the truth is you don't know if you're going to heal or if you're not going to heal. So take pictures. Pictures can show an abnormal look if it's crooked, or they can also show bruising or swelling. Those pictures can be very important, for example, of bruising, swelling, if later on the insurance company tries to argue, and when I say insurance company, I mean the responsible party's insurance company tries to argue that your injury, foot injury, was not related to the accident. You have something to show saying, this is how my foot looked the day of the accident or the day after, a few days after the bruising, and this is how it looks now. And it just makes it easier to link up your foot injury link up the fact that the accident caused your foot injury. As soon as you take those photos, you should send them immediately to the responsible party's insurance company. You want to give them everything you can, other than a recorded statement, as soon as possible. You want your case to stand out to the insurance adjuster, and pictures are a great way to stand out. We all love movies. Facebook has exploded. People love visual things, and pictures and videos are two visual things that can really help your case. After all, the insurance adjuster may have 150 plus or minus claims on his desk, and if you have pictures of your injuries, your case is more likely to stand out. Once you take pictures of your injury to your foot, try to get your face in at least some of them. In particular, if you're an attractive individual, it can help. Unfortunately or fortunately, the world that we live in, adjusters and human beings place a lot of emphasis on beauty. That's why cosmetics is $1 billion industry. So if you happen to be attractive, all things equal, especially if it goes to trial. The claim is worth more. Attractive people, the full value of the claim is worth more before any deductions for your fault, for proving the foot injury was caused by the accident, etc. But the point is, include your face. Should you go to the doctor? I tell my clients, do what's best for your health, number one. But do understand that every day you wait, all things equal, the full value, the total value of the case, assuming there were no problems with your case, decreases every day you wait to see a doctor. This is particularly true for some of the larger insurance companies that use claim software, where the adjuster is putting in certain facts, certain things that have to happen after the accident, such as how many days did the claimant wait to treat, to go to the doctor or hospital. The adjuster enters that into their formula, which you'll never have access to. Their software, it's very, very expensive and proprietary, private. And their software is going to spit out a value. And the value, the full value is going to be higher, all things equal, if you go to the doctor soon after the accident. But again, I tell my clients, do what's best for your health. Some people say there's not anything a doctor can do for a broken foot. I completely disagree, as does the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons. Go to the doctor. The doctor can treat a foot injury. Waiting to see the doctor can make your foot injury worse. You can have complications, particularly if you're a diabetic. I've seen horrific injuries for diabetics who don't treat, and they may even need to get their foot amputated. Not going to the doctor in time can cause arthritis to set in. Your foot the broken bone can non-union, which means actually after the fracture, the bone does not join. It can form a bad union, which surgery may be needed to fix that. You can have continuing pain and deformity, and it can make it more difficult to wear shoes. The problem also with waiting to get medical treatment as it relates to a foot injury case is that the defense, the responsible party, or their insurance company can later on argue that because you waited to get treatment, your injuries got worse. And had you gotten treatment sooner, your injuries would not have gotten worse. They'll argue, had you gotten treatment within a reasonable amount of time, you would have healed, and they should not be responsible for the extra amount of your pain, suffering, deformity, etc., because you waited to get medical treatment for your foot. Case is already tough enough, in my opinion. Waiting to see a doctor is just throwing one other wrench into your case to make it more difficult. And again, complications due to your negligence in waiting and not being reasonable getting medical care, all things equal, are going to drop the full value of the case. In fact, the injured person has a duty to get medical treatment. You're obligated to get medical treatment. Now, there are some foot injuries that can be caused through other problems in the body from accidents. Example, we're going to take a look at one of the two examples we're going to look at is what's called the extensor hallucis longus muscle, which is right there. It runs up there. Now, you can actually fracture the tibial plateau right beneath your kneecap, and that can actually affect that muscle. So not every foot injury is a result of a direct impact to your foot. You could also injure your lower leg, and that can have an impact on your foot. You also have the peroneal nerve, which runs around the fibula and runs all the way down there, runs into the foot. You can actually injure your tibial plateau, fracture your tibial plateau, and that can actually cause that, and that can cause problems with your foot. I hope you got something out of this video. Feel free to call me at 888-594-3577 if you are hurt in Florida or on a cruise or boat, or if you live in Florida. I would love to be able to represent you. Please subscribe to this page. Please like us, and I look forward to hearing from you.